Charlie had always been a dog full of life, but his early days were filled with hardship. He was abandoned as a puppy on the streets of a busy city, alone and scared. For months, he wandered through the alleys and parks, searching for food, warmth, and someone to love him. His fur became matted, and his eyes lost their sparkle, but his spirit never fully gave up. He kept hoping someone would notice him, someone would care. One chilly morning, a woman named Sarah was walking through the park with her child when she noticed Charlie curled up in a corner near the bushes, looking like he hadn't eaten in days. His ribs were visible beneath his dirty coat, and his eyes were filled with sadness. Sarah stopped, her heart breaking at the sight of him. She knelt down and gently reached out her hand. Charlie hesitated at first, but then, sensing kindness in her touch, he cautiously walked over and licked her hand. Sarah knew she couldn't leave him there. She had to help. She immediately took Charlie to the vet, where they cleaned him up and began to nurse him back to health. After a few weeks of care, Charlie was feeling stronger, but he still carried the emotional scars of his past. He was cautious and didn't trust easily, especially around men, but with Sarah, he slowly started to open up. It wasn't long before Charlie became a part of Sarah's family. He was no longer the scared, abandoned dog he once was. He became playful, loyal, and affectionate, always following Sarah around the house, eager for attention. But even with all the love he now had, there were moments when the past would catch up with him. He would sometimes sit by the door, staring out into the distance, his ears drooping, as though waiting for someone who would never come. One afternoon, as Sarah was coming home from work, she saw Charlie sitting near the window, his eyes fixed on the street. He was whining softly, and his body language was filled with uncertainty. She didn't need to ask what was wrong. She knew he had remembered the day he was abandoned, the day when his previous owner had left him behind without a second thought. As Sarah approached, Charlie's eyes widened with a mix of fear and hope. He let out a low whimper, a sound filled with both longing and confusion. Sarah walked over to him, kneeling beside him, and whispered softly, "You're home now, Charlie. You'll never have to be alone again." She hugged him gently, and for the first time, Charlie stopped crying. It was as if he finally understood. He had found a place where he belonged. The pain of the past was still there, but in that moment he felt safe. He had found a family that loved him unconditionally, and no matter what had happened before, he was home now. Charlie never forgot the hurt he had felt from being abandoned, but he learned to trust again. With Sarah and her family, he finally experienced the kind of love he had always deserved. Every day, he showed his gratitude in small ways, wagging his tail when someone came home, cuddling up next to his new family, and always keeping them close. He had finally found the love and security he had longed for, and now, he was no longer just surviving. He was truly living.